Hello Year 4, welcome to part 2 of today's English lesson. So today so far you have been expanding noun phrases using those really ambitious adjectives as well as adverbs too. You've also started to consider how you can use prepositions to create prepositional phrases on the end of your noun phrases. Now we looked at my example when we had the expanded noun phrase about the tree and we added some prepositions to create some prepositional phrases. What I would like you to do now is think about this image here and think about the expanded noun phrase that I've given you. So I've expanded the noun undergrowth. Now looking at this picture of an undergrowth, it's to do with the rainforest. Can you think of what an undergrowth might be? That's right, an undergrowth is like the forest floor of the rainforest. It's where all of the vegetation, the plants, most of it is in the rainforest because it's on the ground, okay? So you can see here there's lots of shrubs and different plants, okay? Now there's not really much that's giving away about this image here. And this is where it's over to you to think of a prepositional phrase. And I've given you the expanded noun phrase of the messy, tangled undergrowth. You can see all these plants are intertwining with each other. They are all tangled, they're a bit messy, they're a bit all over the place. They don't look as if they've been looked after, they've just been allowed to grow. And because that's in the undergrowth of the rainforest. Now what I would like you to do is expand these prepositional phrases using the prepositions with, between, and in. So what is your prepositional phrase going to be? Remembering that we are talking about the messy, tangled undergrowth with. What does it have with it? What might it have with it? The messy, tangled undergrowth between. What is the undergrowth between in the rainforest? The messy, tangled undergrowth in. Where is the undergrowth? Where is it in the world? Is it in the shops? No, it's not. So where is it? But remember, you're not just going to say, oh, in the rainforest. You're really going to describe that noun. Because when you have your noun, your thing, your place, your object, you need to always try and expand it using your ambitious adjectives, okay? So what I am going to let you do now is complete, I'm going to move my head over here, and complete task 2. Task 2 has these following sentence starters. You need to complete them adding your prepositional phrase, okay? So pause the video now and have a go at that. Okay, how did you do? Did you complete some excellent prepositional phrases? Remembering some really good adjectives too. I bet you did. Let's have a look at some suggestions then. So the messy, tangled undergrowth with spiky green thorns. So they're not just thorns. They're not just green thorns, they are spiky green thorns. Number 2, the messy, tangled undergrowth between. Well, it's between the trees. We can see that because there are trees in the image here. But they're not just trees, they're ancient trees. Why are they ancient? That's right, because they weren't just planted there. They've been there for many, many years. So they are ancient, they are pretty old. And finally, the messy, tangled undergrowth in the furthest reaches of the forest. So it's not just in the forest, it's not in the heart of the forest like our trees were, it's in the furthest reaches of the forest. What does that mean, the furthest reaches of the forest? The furthest reaches is like really, really far away in the forest, deep in the forest you might have said too. Now, if you won't have these exact prepositional phrases, and that's okay, but as long as you've had a go, you can send in your work and I can have a look at them, all right? Now, I am going to give you some sentences here. I would like you to spot the expanded noun phrases that I have used, but also try and spot the head noun, the main noun that I am writing about. So, first one, the boys ran excitedly into the lush green forest beside the river. Number 2, the air was filled with the rather beautiful sound of birdsong from the trees. That one's a bit trickier. And number 3, the wind blew gently through the paper-thin, delicate leaves above their head. Can you spot the head noun? But not only that, can you spot the adverb? Can you spot the expanded noun phrase? Can you spot the prepositional phrase? Pause the video. Okay, so let's have a look at this first one. The boys ran excitedly into the lush green forest beside the river. Forest is our head noun. We can see here we've got the adjectives lush, green, forest. That is my expanded noun phrase. Did you spot my prepositional phrase? Absolutely, beside the river. Beside is my preposition. It tells me where it is. But also I've got my adverb here, excitedly. They didn't just run, they ran excitedly. It tells me how they ran, giving me that sense of imagery in my mind. Number 2, the air was filled with the rather beautiful sound of birdsong from the trees. Where is my head noun? That's right, sound is my noun that I'm describing. How have I described my noun this time? What 2 words have I used and what type of words are they? Well done, we've used the word rather and beautiful. It's not just beautiful, it's rather beautiful. So rather, is that an adjective? No, it's an adverb, isn't it? So it tells me how beautiful it is. It's not just beautiful, it's rather beautiful. And beautiful is my adjective too. Well done. And we can spot my prepositional phrase here, from the trees, and from being my preposition. Finally then, the wind blew gently through the paper-thin, delicate leaves above their head. Where is my head noun? What noun am I describing here? Am I describing the wind? No, I'm not, am I? Because I haven't actually used any adjectives before that to describe what the wind is like. What am I describing? That's right, I'm describing the leaves. Now, I've described them using 2 adjectives. What 2 adjectives have I used? That's right, I've used paper thin and delicate leaves. Did you spot my prepositional phrase? Tell the screen. Super, above their heads. And heads is my preposition, isn't it? It's not. What's my preposition then? Above. Silly Miss Newman, it's above, isn't it? Because that tells me where the leaves are. Fantastic. Did you spot my adverb? That's right, the word gently describes how the wind blew. So that is my adverb. Super job, well done. Now, your final task of the day. You've worked so hard today. You've got one more task. I would like you to complete the sentences below. These sentences are based on our current book, The Great Kapok Tree. You are going to use an expanded noun phrase to describe the noun and then expand that using a prepositional phrase. So let's look at the first example. The something jaguar. So you've got to think of 2 powerful, ambitious adjectives that you're going to use to describe the jaguar. Are you going to say the small, tiny jaguar? No, you're not, are you? You're going to use really ambitious adjectives, aren't you? And then I've got emerged. Does it emerge with? Does it emerge of? Does it emerge by? Does it emerge from? And if so, what are you going to write next? Emerge from the? If it emerged from the trees, what type of trees were there? And there's a lot of space here for you to write that really ambitious vocabulary. Not just emerge from the trees, not just emerge from the leaves. What type of leaves, what type of trees? Now, if you see a line in red, that is for you to include an adverb as well as 2 adjectives. So for example here, the man took one swing of his something axe. Now you've got to think of 2 words to describe the axe. What could we use to describe the axe? Could we use our adjective bank here to help us? It might be a heavy axe, it might be a metal axe. Now, it might be an incredibly metal, heavy axe, So it might be an extremely heavy metal axe. So you've got to use an adverb to describe those adjectives, all right? And then you've got your prepositional phrase here, something axe. Could it be next to, inside, on? But it has to make sense, okay? And then you do the same for number 3 and number 4. And then your extension is to create your own expanded noun phrase. So you might be talking about the maybe you might be talking about another animal in the Great Kapok Tree. Think about what other animals there are, how you're going to create an expanded noun phrase about that. So that is your task for today. Really looking for that ambitious vocabulary today. You've got your prepositions here and you've got some adjectives here, but that's only a starting point. I know you can do much better than that. Finally then, a plenary. Why do we use expanded noun phrases? Pause the video and just have a think. Okay, so we might use expanded noun phrases because they give us extra information to help build an image. So instead of saying leaves, we could say the emerald green leaves on the trees. Instead of just saying waterfall, we could say the secret waterfall deep in the heart of the forest. All of these things make an image more vivid. You can imagine it more clearly. And they can also be used not only to give you extra information, but what we're doing this week to persuade a reader to do something. We're trying to persuade our reader not to cut down the trees, so we want to make them sound really amazing, so the axeman does not cut them down. So we could say they stared at the vast dead section of forest with brittle twigs poking from the dust. Or it was here that I first saw the secret waterfall deep in the heart of the forest. Okay. And it also makes you want to persuade the reader because you're really trying to get the emotion out of those words. That is your task for today then. So your final task is to construct your expanded noun phrases with your super prepositional phrases. Can't wait to see them. Bye Year 4. Have a lovely rest of your day.